Well, hello, hello. It has been quite a while. Sorry, I don't think I've made a video in, well, shoot, I can check online right now. 7 months. And that was right before I did a sermon. So I just did my sermon. Exodus 32 was the last one I did 9 months ago. Sorry about being gone. All my, I believe, 30 followers now, subscribers, moving up in the world. I was on quite a time crunch. I had to renovate the house that my wife and I were fiance at the time. I know, sorry, Bible pushers. But we were living together, pre-married. I had to remodel her house right before our wedding, because right after our wedding, we were moving into my parents' house that I was buying on the farm here. So that's where I'm at now. This is our grow room. Got yarrow, chamomile, lavender, onions, asparagus going right now. I had to turn the lights off for this. Oh man, I had to redo the floors in Omaha where we were living at her house. I had to redo the bathroom. Both of us. She helped, obviously. We had to paint a whole bunch. Upstairs, downstairs painted, upstairs, downstairs, redid the floors. Redid one of the bedrooms. Oh man, it was just time crunch and a half getting it done. And then, after our wedding, as soon as we got here, we put her house, and thank you God for the blessings. It was less than a month that the property management people we had hired had rented it out. We've had renters since with no problems, Thank you. Because we were worried for a while. That's why we got the property management people. And then I got to work at this house, and that was in September. November, my wife's pregnant. So boom, I don't know if other guys are like this, but when I found out she was pregnant, especially in that first trimester when she was struggling, my energy went through the roof. And it was just project, because we started remodeling the house. Like, we've already completely redone the kitchen and the dining room, and the front room has been painted and refurbed, and I think all we did was painted. Anyway, I got to tear out all the walls in the downstairs bedrooms and all the drop ceiling, because the nursery's going to be down here, and she wants to be on the same level as where the nursery's at. So this will be our bedroom next year when the baby's down here. So I have to take out all the drywall because it's that bumpy stuff, and she doesn't like it. And instead of mudding over it like we did upstairs, we just said we're going to put new drywall up. So I'm going to take it out, take out the drop ceiling, put in a drywall ceiling, but I have to redo a bunch of the wiring because obviously the drop ceiling, the wires don't go through the beams. Anyway, this isn't a hardware channel. I don't know why I'm going off on it, but that's why I've been gone for so long. Just getting project after project done. Today's Ash Wednesday. I was just talking to my wife because we're going to an Ash Wednesday service. First one I've ever been to. We don't really make a big deal of Lent and Ash Wednesday and stuff in the church that I grew up in. She grew up Catholic, so she knows a lot more about it, but new minister we have wanted to have an Ash Wednesday service. We were reading about it, and it's just crazy to me how everything that God tells us to do, or that we have these traditions when you look at them, so giving up and actually following Lent the way that is originally prescribed with the actual diet that you're supposed to do, not just the no meat on Wednesday or something, but the strict one, it basically sounds like a bio cleanse that you would hear on a dietitian's website or blog now. Like, everything God tells you to do, yes, it's a struggle, but at the end you come out better. Now, everything that you're supposed to do for God, even though it seems like this harsh thing, it's like working out. And at the end you come out better in every way, mentally, emotionally, and physically. TV, get down. But this is Bible study time, and I am doing chapter 34 of Exodus because we just left off on 30. Oh no! I'm doing chapter 33 because we just left off on 32. Illuminati confirmed, guys. 33. How many months did I take off? I bet it adds up to some sort of numerology. 9 months and 11 days, probably. So, Exodus 32 was basically the golden calf. Everyone knows the story where Moses was going to get the 10 Commandments, and he was gone for a long time, and this mystical lightning storm cloud there was thunder everyone was afraid of, and Moses up there, they're all thinking he's dead. So they get Aaron to let them make this golden calf that they worship, and God's obviously ticked off. And that's where we leave off. Moses is basically like yelling at them, and they do some killing. But Illuminati confirmed, 33rd degree Mason of the book Exodus, the Lord said to Moses, "Get going, you and the people you brought up from the land of Egypt. Go up to the land I swore to give to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. I told them, I will give this land to your descendants, and I will send an angel before you to drive out the Canaanites, Amorites, Hittites, Perizzites, Hivites, and Jebusites. Go up to this land that flows with milk and honey, but I will not travel among you, for you are a stubborn and rebellious people. If I did, I would surely destroy you along the way." A lot to pack in the first paragraph. Now, just quick history. We already know about the promised land and God's promise to drive out all these Canaanites, Hivites, all these ites, which, depending on what historian or theologian or Bible study guy you listen to, you'll hear a lot about these being the new Rephaim and the descendants of the Nephilites, whether through reincursion or whatnot. I don't know. Maybe not. All I know is culturally these people were corrupt. And I don't mean just corrupt in what we consider corrupt as a pretty much virtuous society. I'm talking seriously corrupt. Like, it was seen as a good thing to rape and plunder and pillage, to take advantage. Like, these were virtuous things. Think about, like, the old Vikings. I mean, you can say history has been changed and the Vikings were actually good, whatever. But the thing that we think about the Vikings is they just came and plundered and pillaged. Now think of a cultural society that exists where things like human sacrifice is seen as a good thing. If you don't do it, you're crazy and wicked. And these ideas being embedded into the children from the time they're young, so that if they grow up in that society, that's what they see as virtuous. And these are the people that are being driven out. Or they're the descendants of the Nephilim, Rephaim. Who knows? But God's ticked off at Israel. These are his promised people. These are the ones that he promised to drive these people out, taken to the land of milk and honey, of overflowing blessings. And they just, in a matter of a few days, decided to build a golden calf and worship it after they'd seen all the miracles God had done for them. So he's ticked. He's like, you gotta be kidding me, guys. Only he's not laughing. So right here, "But I will not travel among you, for you are a stubborn and rebellious people. If I did, I would surely destroy you along the way." Yikes. That's how mad he is at them. And it's not just that he's mad and he wants to kill them, and that's that. It's because of the way they act and are continuing to act unless they get scared straight. You understand? It's not just God's acting in the moment, like immediate. God knows. He knows all. So he's mad at what they've become. He knows in their heart where they are going and what they're doing and how they'll continue to act unless he scares them out of this type of behavior. They're going down corruption quickly. Idol worship, where corruption overflows, because if there's an idol, anyone can say what that idol is telling you to do. So they can then corrupt it and make it their own. And that's just the beginning of it. I mean, that's just the start. God knows where they're going. So he's scaring them straight, basically. They've become materialistic overnight, basically. I mean, it's not really overnight. This is what they learned in Egypt. This is what the big fear was when they were exiled later to Babylon and everything. They forgot a lot of what and who they were while they were in Egypt. That's why it was so hard for Moses and Joshua to lead these people, because they had forgotten. It's not Joseph and his brothers anymore, that are right there and learned right from Abraham and Isaac and Jacob. No. These people have been in another culture that is materialistic, sinful, and sin is virtuous for 400 years. Okay, a lot of their morals and virtues have been eroded, and they've forgotten what it means and what God is and what it means to serve God. Moving on. When the people heard these stern words, they went into mourning and stopped wearing their jewelry and fine clothes. For the Lord had told Moses to tell them, "You are a stubborn and rebellious people." Stubborn, like he knows they're set in their ways now. "If I were to travel with you for even a moment, I would destroy you. Remove your jewelry and fine clothes while I decide what to do with you." So from the time that Mount Sinai, the Israelites wore no more jewelry or fine clothes. Again, they become materialistic. Like, look at me. And why do you wear fine clothes? Yes, you can say, oh, it's to feel good. There's nothing wrong with that. In your heart, in their hearts, and God knows the heart, it's not, they're doing it for people to look at them so that they can be seen in a certain way and gain power or prestige or fame or pride or whatever it may be, and they're putting themselves ahead of God. That's the drawback of wearing fine things and all this. It's, what are you doing it for? Are you doing it to be seen? It's kind of like a wedding ring. People, I mean, it's an old joke. It was probably on a sitcom or something, but people wear a wedding ring or to look like they're married, either to be ignored and not be hit on, or because they think that they will get hit on. It's weird, I know, but why are you doing it? Why are you wearing what you're wearing? Why are you wearing the fine clothes? Why are you wearing the jewelry? These people are doing it for their own selfish wants and desires. And it was a reminder to the people, and it's like, why? Even if you're just doing it to feel good, if there's the possibility that it'll rub off. It's kind of like, I teach PE. Right now we're doing hockey. I have the bigger kids hockey sticks, which are like plastic actual hockey sticks, and I have the foam ones for little kids. Well, when the third graders come in to get the big kid ones, if one of them grabs the little foam one, then they're all going to want to grab it. And one of them might want to grab it just because they want to use the foam one. It's not for attention or anything. But then the others are going to want to. And one of them's going to think that this foam one's going to be fun to hit people with. So it's just best not to let any of them use it or touch it. Same thing with this. It's just better not to let anybody wear the fine or expensive look at me clothes and jewelry, because eventually one's going to want to do it that's not doing it for just the fun of it or just to feel good for the moment. So you see why God draws these lines so hard isn't necessarily because he thinks you're the bad guy for doing this thing. It's why. You don't need to do it, and it's going to tempt others to rebel against me in their own way. Because not everyone has the same temptation, the same thing in their heart that's going to lead them astray. It was Moses' practice to take the tent of meeting and set it up some distance from the camp. Everyone who everyone who wanted to make a request of the Lord would go to the tent of meeting outside the camp. Whenever Moses went out to the tent of meeting, all the people would get up and stand in the entrance of their own tents, in respect, obviously, and anticipation, I'm sure. I mean, he's about to go speak to God, so they think God might wipe them out. So they're probably pretty nervous and wanted to know what's he going to find out, what's going on. As he went into the tent, the pillar of cloud would come down and hover at its entrance while the Lord spoke with Moses. I mean, just think about that. I know everyone has those doubting or those staunch God-hating atheists or whatever, or just the agnostic who will roll their eye at things like this. But we know, by we I mean historians, not just religious people, that the Bible is not one of the most, and this is fact, this isn't just my claim, the most accurate ancient historical text that we have, because we can verify it through so many other cultures, because Israel, the people, existed for so long and survived. It's not like the Ionians. We can compare it against what we found from the Ionians, but the Ionians are gone. The Medes are gone. These civilizations that rose high, they are gone, but Israel survived. So we can verify it with all these other ones that we found that are like dead ones that we knew about, and it comes back to verify what the Bible's saying. And if you read it, it's written like a textbook. They're not trying to make a fanciful story. A fanciful story ends up happening, but almost in a very boring way. So it's not written for novelistic state or anything like that. So they see a pillar of cloud come down every time. Remember what I said about earlier with idols, how people can take an idol and since it's an idol, it's an empty thing, they can then possess it, and they can be the one that drives what you do because you have this devotion to this false idol, and they control what the idol says. They're the priests of the idol. They're the most devout of the idol, and they can tell you what the idol wants you to do, and they'll do it for their own selfish gains. That's where corruption comes in. Moses has the ability to do this. Now, obviously, God would do something about it if he did. But think about the power that Moses could have. He could have been so tyrannical. He could have been so gluttonous. He could have had anything he wanted. If he got out of hand, the Israelites would have killed him. That's pretty obvious. Okay, even though all he'd done, the Israelites still would have killed him if he got a little bit crazy. But if he lavished gifts onto a lot of them, and he kind of just went his own way, he has the power to do that. All they know is this pillar of cloud goes down on this tent when Moses goes in. He comes back, tells them what God just said. Think about the power he wields. This is why God knows what he's doing. He chooses Moses, who does not want to go and free the slaves. He doesn't want any of this. Okay? He doesn't want to go back. He thinks he's going to get killed. He has basically a speech impediment, stutter or something. He doesn't want to go speak in front of all these people to save them. He doesn't really know much about the Israelites. He never lived among them. He doesn't think he can lead them. He doesn't want to do any of it. God chooses him because he's going to have power. And if he was self-serving and an ambitious person, think about what he would do with that power. It'd be like Balaam, who we read about later on, who starts selling blessings and cursings from the Lord because he knows that people think that he has the word of the Lord. He's using the name of the Lord in vain. Moses has this supreme power to do this, but doesn't. This is why he gets to be up there, like when Jesus is praying and Moses is next to God. I think Elijah's there too, but this is why Moses is so revered, so remembered so well, because he could have been so self-serving and he wasn't. No one's really been put in the position that he was put in. He could have made a nation unto himself. Later we'll read about how Moses' bones, his body, had to be saved by one of the archangels, I think Gabriel, from the devil, because the devil would have used it to create an idol for them to follow. So all they know, they wait and they watch and they see Moses go in and a cloud comes down on the tent. Inside the tent of meeting, the Lord would speak to Moses face to face as one speaks to a friend. Afterward, Moses would return to the camp, but the young man who assisted him, Joshua, son of Nun, who would remain behind in the tent of meeting. Now, it doesn't say. I'm curious if God stayed in there and talked to Joshua. Maybe we'll learn later on. One day Moses said to the Lord, "You have been telling me, take these people up to the promised land, but you haven't told me whom you will send with me. You have told me, I know you by name, and I look favorably on you. If it is true that you look favorably on me, let me know your ways, so I may understand you more fully and continue to enjoy your favor. And remember that this nation is your very own people." The Lord replied, "I will personally go with you, Moses, and I will give you rest. Everything will be fine for you." Then Moses said, "If you don't personally go with us, don't make us leave this place. How will anyone know that you look favorably on me, and on your people, if you don't go with us? For your presence among us sets your people and me apart from all the people of the earth." The Lord replied to Moses, "I will indeed do what you have asked, for I look favorably on you, and I know you by name." Moses responded, "Then show me your glorious presence." The Lord replied, "I will make all my goodness pass before you, and I will call out my name Yahweh before you, for I will show mercy to anyone I choose, and I will show compassion to anyone I choose. But you may not look directly at my face, for no one may see me and live." The Lord continued, "Look, stand near me on this rock. As my glorious presence passes by, I will hide you in the crevice of the rock and cover you with my hand until I have passed by. Then I will remove my hand and let you see me from behind, but my face will not be seen." This is a classic butt joke that all the old men that I've known in my family and my church will make. It's about this, about God seeing, or Moses seeing God's rear end, or God mooning Moses. I just had to get that out there. So this whole conversation, it always confuses me. Confused me as a child, confuses me less now. Like, I understand it, but at the same time it's still sort of aggravating. Because you'll read things like, and we can look at the King James Version too, but he spoke to Moses face to face in the tent. That's what it says. As you would speak to a friend face to face. So, blah, blah, blah. That is verse 11. Let's see what the King James has in verse 11. So the Lord spoke to Moses face to face, as a man speaks to his friend. Whose face? Like, I understand it as in the way I'm speaking to you right now. I speak face to face, or the way you would speak on a phone. It's like speaking face to face to somebody, and that's how you would describe it. I guess if I was describing using a phone to somebody from the past, I might use that term face to face. But they could have done a better way. They could have just been more detailed. Like, Moses could hear him as if he was standing there face to face. But they say they speak as if face to face. So I always dislike the wordage there, but who am I to question the writers of the Bible, I guess? I'm only the chapter 33 confirmed Illuminati. And it goes on, "You have told me that I know you by name, and I look favorably on you. If that is true, that you look favorably on me, let me know your ways, so I may understand you more fully and continue to enjoy your favor." So, when God passes by, Moses is asking for more understanding. Now, you don't need to see someone's face, the way they look, to have more understanding. So what is Moses really asking for? And what does Moses really see? I don't think he sees the rear end of God as, my dad and my grandpa would like to joke about. I think he sees, and this is just me, okay? Don't take this theologically, rooted, but I think he sees the history, past and future. I think he sees the whole story, from the beginning and the creation and the sin and the fall of man, all the way through to Christ and his coming and dying for our sins, all the way through to the second coming. I think he sees it all, and he sees it from behind. As in, like, he can't know the exact details of what is going to happen, but he knows what's going to happen. It's like a movie. No, that's not a good comparison. I was going to say a movie based on a book, but most movies based on books aren't as good as the books. Which I guess it could be the same. But it's kind of like knowing, you might be one of those people who can watch a movie and you kind of know how it's going to end at the beginning. He's going to stop him and she's going to fall for that dude. But the in between, you don't know how they're going to get there. There's a lot of twists and it's things you don't see coming. But at the end, it's still, oh yeah, she went with him and he stopped that guy. But you didn't see all that other stuff and details, how it had to fall into place to work exactly as it did. And that's how I think Moses sees it. He knows this whole story without the fine details. If you're a Game of Thrones fan, the books, it's like knowing that the Red Wedding happens, but not knowing any of the details of how or why it happens. That's important in the book, to understand those things. And same thing here. Moses now knows that they'll be fine. He knows God will protect him. He saw the ending of the story. He saw the backside, not the face, but the backside So he now has the understanding, as he puts it in his words. He wants to let me know your ways so I may understand you more fully and continue to enjoy your favor. Now that he knows that God will be with them when they go, because he knows the ending of the story, he can have peace and continue to do what he does with joy, because he knows that he has God's favor. You know, again, it's like knowing the ending of the story without the details in the middle. That's what I think the presence of God passing by Moses means. I don't think it's a face and a backside, as people will take it to be literally. I think it's the full understanding, or more fully understanding without knowing the finer details. But that's just me. Again, I'm no theologian, but I do enjoy studying the Bible. I do enjoy studying almost any religious ancient texts, or hearing about ancient civilizations or whatnot and their cultures. Obviously, I believe the Bible to be true, and the other ones I read as more of a historical context and to understand the cultures. But it is amazing, like Big Bear always talks about the Muslims. I started studying the Muslims when I was like 19 or something, and I was always fascinated by them. I have my own opinions on a few things, but for the most part, I always thought that they sounded like Christians with balls. uh, I wish that they would accept the death and resurrection, but that's how I've always viewed them. There's a lot, don't get me wrong, there's some grappler ties into their Quran and everything, and you can spot it pretty good. But yeah, that was probably something I shouldn't have said. Maybe I'll lose 5 of my 30 viewers now. All right, everyone, enjoy your Lent season, and hopefully you enjoy Ash. If you do decide to do something, I suggest set 10 to 15 minutes aside to read, another 15 minutes aside to think about and contemplate the Bible. That's a great thing to do during the Lent season. Also, if you're ever going to think one of those health nuts, thinking about doing a cleanse, do it over Lent. Honestly, that's literally what it is you're supposed to be a body cleanse. Look into it. Look into how you're actually supposed to eat during Lent, not just the little ways, the major ways you're supposed to eat during Lent, and you will find out what I'm talking about. It's basically a gut cleanse. So, everyone, God bless, and good afternoon, good evening, or good night.